Oh, okay. I think we're live.
All right.
All right. So yeah, we were just talking about, really the idea of this whole thing being that when somebody gets started, turning on paid ads and just flushing a bunch of money down the toilet, right? Because they don't actually have a sales process or anything set into place, and they don't actually go into and figure out like what they're actually doing, and just hop right into, blowing a bunch of money on paid ads, right?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. I see it all the time. I mean, look, think about it. It's like, we're not back in 2015 when Facebook ads were super cheap, right? And when there wasn't like a ton of people pushing at the same market. And, every day, I know, if you're the agency coach or consultant, it's like, how many different programs are there? They're bringing in 50, 100 new students every single month, So let's just look at like, if there's 12, taking the top 12 biz op agency style, coaching consultant style courses, so we're talking 1,000 to 1,200 new people that flush into the market every single month.
Right.
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 All going after the same niches.
Yep.
And so everybody's seeing the ads. Everybody's seeing these ads, and it's like another Joe Blow, which is what obviously, you've sold on tons of different offers. You sold millions of dollars in coaching consulting offers for the last number of years. And, so it's like the pendulum swings, right? All the prospects are seeing every single ad from every single agency selling the same stuff, right? You see it coming from a mile away, book a call, we're going to show you a presentation, blah, 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 blah. And the message is cookie cutter, right? And when the message is cookie cutter, it doesn't necessarily replicate or connect at all. And that's why now it's like, if you're starting an agency or you're trying to dial in your sales pitch, going organic seems like it's the best way. Doing messaging, getting them inside of a group and going from there before you launch to cold traffic, right?
Yeah. And my experience was like, I'd actually rather take a call from somebody that was organic, that came through my Facebook group, because they saw me positioned as the authority. They saw me as the expert in the space. They saw proof. They knew who I actually was, versus just like coming in off of a paid ad they know they're about to get sold to. So a lot of times it was actually easier than, taking like a paid, running an ad and getting somebody booking an inbound call.
Right. Plus you get the no-shows, the cost to get it in. So it's like, yeah, I get it. You have courses that it's like they're going to hit on the pain point of, hey, you don't have to cold call. You don't have to do DMs. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Throw this ad up, run it, and, fucking gold's going to pour out of your ass.
Yeah.
It's not the case unless you're like some sort of like ace salesperson that's been selling this type of offer for a long time, and you got killer follow-up game, and you just like the odds are stacked against you. Like we were talking to a guy the other day, running ads, salespeople aren't closing anything, just money's pouring out, and he doesn't even have a pitch down, right? And wanting to, like, there's this need and want to scale, right? But you can't scale unless you have a dialed in sales pitch. You understand what the pain points are. You have like a stock of clients that are getting results, right? So how do you get a stock of clients that are getting results and spending money out of the front when you can't close and you don't have results to show to it's like, there's all these things in the way. But people want to scale fast, and people want to work their way out of being work their way into the CEO seat so quickly, just because they see somebody else in that role and they're trying to jump over 4 or 5 years of hard work.
Right. And the bottom line is, everybody's trying to cut out the hard work. And the reality of it is, it's really, not to say that you only have to work hard for 90 days, But the real hard work is only going to be for 90 days. After that, it gets a lot easier once you have way more people in your group. You have an established, yourself as somebody that's an expert in the space. You have proof. You have more podcasts. So really that's what, I teach people to do inside of my training is we work on building an organic brand and actually getting people into your group to see you as the trusted authority. Go ahead and post a bunch of proof. Go ahead and get people into there and see you as somebody first. Then when you book an appointment with somebody that's seen all that, they already got your trust. Like you already got their trust versus just coming in off of a paid ad.
Right.
And again, only the first 90 days of it is going to be really building it up and having, like in the beginning, I was doing, a ton of work and posting all kinds of content to then once I had it really streamlined, it was only like one thing that I needed to do every day of the week. And it was less work, hands off, and there was more engagement because I had built it up. But it's only just building it up, that first, however many weeks, first couple months. And the other thing that we try to do, or what a lot of people try and do is like the cold email thing, which you're just going to get a bunch of people that are so low intent to then, present your situation or present your solution to them so fast that then you just follow up for like all this time. You're just doing all this work rather than having somebody that's actually qualified, book an appointment and knows who you are, understands who you are.
Yeah. And then, using the spotlight method to add value and get them in there. And it's like, yeah, it's so much smarter. I mean, and if you're not doing an agency, say you're selling done with you or consulting, it still makes way more sense. Especially again, starting out, instead of going right to a webinar, instead of going right to paid traffic. Now, like, do I think that you got to get to paid traffic at some point? Yeah. And just like you said, 90 days, 6 months, if things are taking a little bit longer, you're in a harder niche. That's like got to be your window of I'm grinding and I'm going to grind in a smart way. And I think that's really likely what the pain is and the avoidance of doing outreach, doing organic, doing DMing is that, somebody might be like, oh, I tried that for like 3 or 4 days and nobody responded.
Right.
Right. And we don't know, like, what did you send? I mean, I'm sure you've seen it all. Like when somebody says this isn't working or it didn't work or I tried that and it didn't work, and you look at the messages, what is typically?
Well, it's like, yeah, how many messages did you send out?
Yeah, what's the candor of the messages?
Yeah, what are you saying in the messages? What's like, are you sending them to, a group? Or are you sending them somewhere where they're going to be able to get an idea of who you are? Like, are you doing any of that stuff? Probably not. That's the other thing is everybody's trying to just 100% get somebody onto an appointment through messaging. Like just going into either the LinkedIn messages where it's like a book in your DM, or it's somebody that's just trying to carry on the conversation and drag this whole thing out and get them to book an appointment. Probably not going to, sign up with you. They don't even know who you are yet. So
right. Yeah. You're like, hey, jump on a call so I can dig into your issues.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you have that, when you start to do that whole thing with, especially with the way that we have it designed, is that so many people start to see all these people that you're doing interviews with. They'll even start to, think that all these people are testimonials, which was happening to me. I see you guys know what you're doing. So there's ways to get your brand and yourself established without having to, spend all this money, which is the real way that you should do it in the first place, is to get cash in the door. And then from there, you're doing the hard work so you can, like you said, you can't just build a business and throw money at stuff and then, build something. You have to actually put in the hard work first, collect cash, then reinvest into the business. But you got to start with organic, or
You
else
gotta
like
be committed to like actually make it. There's so many people are committed to having their agency or their coaching be something or
yeah,
look a certain way, or but there's no money being made. Like,
right,
not you making any money. So, it's like it's gotta first look at like, okay, how can I make some money before I start hiring salespeople that I don't even understand the pitch. I don't have a pitch deck. I don't have a script that works.
yeah,
And you're hoping that some random sales guy who, by the way, didn't have a job, right? You got a sales guy who wasn't currently employed, which is the hardest part about hiring salespeople is that the ones who aren't currently employed, there's usually a reason.
right. Yeah,
So, it's like, it's Hail Marys. That's what I was talking to a bunch of people the other day. So many people are just throwing Hail Marys.
yeah. You want to have predictability, knowing that when people schedule calls with you, you know exactly what you're going to say. You have it down. Where when you have the sales process down too, it's like the best feeling in the world, because you know that like you can predict your income. You know that you'll get a certain amount of appointments. Certain amount of them are not going to show up. You'll get some reschedules. Then you'll get some people that do show up and you close, and then some people that show up and don't. But you can follow up with those people and whatnot or whatever. But I'm doing like I put a link below too for if anybody wants to hop on a call with me, and I'll look at your script. And this isn't your fault if you're in this situation, but I've had a lot of people that scheduled these calls with me, and they don't have a script. And it's not your fault, it's really not. It's just you just haven't gone through and been told or been taught the way to actually do it is to have a proven process. Because if you don't have a script, you're going to be thinking about what you're going to say next. And if you're thinking about what you're going to say next and you're hemming and hawing and you got all these filler words coming in there, you're not even listening to what they're saying. There's no way that you're going to be able to get a new client. So the way to do it,
they're gonna totally feel your unconfidence.
Oh yeah,
in the offer, right?
Yeah.
And that's the last thing you want when there's a million other of the same offers that are coming through the newsfeed.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is too, you do want to learn through like trial and error and going through and doing, your whole organic stuff. But the other part of it is like I did was pay a coach, because then you can go ahead and get exactly what to say and work on the script with somebody that knows what they're doing. So then it just speeds up the process. Now that's speeding up the process in a different way versus, paying a VA to go in there and do all your messaging. That's not what I'm talking about, right? It's actually investing into yourself and doing the work with somebody to get your process concrete and streamlined. So then this way, you got it down, you're good to go. Your whole thing A to Z.
Yeah, because there's no way you can train it. You shouldn't run ads to an offer you don't know that people aren't buying. Even if you bought the offer from a agency course or something like that, meaning that you're just copying what they're doing. It's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
Sure, you can take that and then use that as your initial template. But like we've always found out, doing the spotlight method, getting them in the group, having real conversations, nurturing that up, you start to really understand, what is exactly the pain points, the buying triggers, all that stuff. Because that's what they're actually telling you, not because there's 500 other people running the exact same thing, complaining about why nobody's selling. And now they're having to push the prices down and having to, it's a race to the bottom.
Right. And besides like even like the sales process and getting all the stuff down and getting your brand built up, really the idea was in the beginning, I knew that if it was like I went to work for the industry and I went and I found out what was working. All these, no matter who you're selling to, they don't really have the time to go and find out what everybody else is doing, what's working, what's not working. So when you do that and you interview all these people, or you go and do research on whatever the specific niche or area that you're working in, And then you can go ahead and report. It's really what Tony Robbins did in the beginning. He was a reporter. He went and interviewed people that were successful, and then he went and took, a collection of it, and then he gave it to people as value. That's what you're doing inside of your group. And what I teach is to go and do that. And as a result, as a byproduct of that you're giving people, you're helping people and showing them what's working inside the industry. You're giving them tools like we created, the email template that one of our clients used to close all these jobs. We went and took that and then went and gave it out to people. Right. Scripts, like follow-up scripts. There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's endless. And when you go to work for an industry like that and you continue to do it over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, you'll eventually get people to pay you money. It's just going to happen. So it's just a different way of thinking of it. And it's a guaranteed way where you're not dumping. You either have, a bunch of money or you have a bunch of time. So if you're starting out, you got a bunch of time, you invest your time, energy, and attention into building this thing up, and then you'll start to get paid. Then use your money for the paid traffic, not, going 20K in debt on the credit card.
Yeah. Yeah, just throwing Hail Marys. Throw another ad out. Let's try another sales guy. Give him another, and then,
It's just a mess, man. It really is. So, yeah, and anybody that does it, and whether you do have a script or you don't, like I said, if you don't, you just haven't been taught not to, put a process together, which is really what you want to do. So if you do, if you don't, I have a link below here that you can click on and book a call with me. I'll go over exactly and adjust the script with you if you already have one, and we'll tweak it and work on it. Or if you don't, then I'll go ahead and share with you some of my stuff, and we'll get one put together for you. So then this way, you can at least, when you start getting some of these appointments.
Yeah, the beauty is like what I've seen you do on all different offers is once you have that script dialed in, then you can start to create your presentation. What different points you can hit on, and how you can really keep their attention dialed in and, close them.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah, Brian, we'll definitely get you some role play too, man. Anybody that goes ahead and books a call, that's the whole idea of the script. Go ahead and role play and ask questions. It's the way that you ask the questions, stretching the questions out and actually listening to people. The way that you ask the question, is going to determine whether you get a surface level answer or if somebody actually is going to open up to you. So I'll go over all that with you, on the call as well, Brian, for sure. But I think that's it. Somebody else had asked to talk about on this interview, just overall, anything that you would suggest with discipline and staying focused. I'm kind of curious to hear that too from you.
Yeah, I mean, you're great at that. The thing that's worked the best for me is because my mind goes all over the place and I'm like trying to juggle all these things. 3 things, like what are the top 3 things that, what are the top 3 things I need to get done today? What are the top 3 things that, like, if I get done this week, is going to move me forward where I'm at right now, which is the other thing that Rob always says. And I've always, started to implement over the years, which is, instead of working on things that are like just in case would be, I gotta learn how to write emails and work on that, because once I get traffic going and I got leads coming in and people are doing that, I need emails to send to them. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm going to work on that. Right. Yeah. That's a just in case. Really, all that's happening is I'm avoiding doing what's necessary to get results now.
Yeah.
If I'm not running traffic and I don't have leads coming in already, then I shouldn't be thinking about writing emails. Like ideally, if you're running lean and mean, you have traffic going, you have leads coming in, and you're like, oh fuck, like let's get the emails in so that we can, like, we know this is working, let's do that, right? When you're having to run lean and mean and you don't have a bunch of money and experience, like that's the other thing I would say. If you had a bunch of money and not past experience of success, do not blow that money
Yeah.
because the money isn't going to get you results, right?
Yeah.
It's what you do with it and when you choose to do something with it, right? So that's why I like the 3 things. What are 3 things that I can do today that I know are going to like, get me paid tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get that out of the way, right? What is the highest ROI things that I can do today that can be implemented in my business like this week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's why, this conversation of organic, it's like I took a year off. You see, now I'm like starting to do a little bit more organic because I'm launching a new thing. I was working with that with my coach. I haven't done any organic in like a year, right? So it's like that muscle is atrophied. I'm like, well, like, should I have to do that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I have to do that. Like, I got to show up and do that for 90 days. As much as I don't like, I have some stories around not wanting to do that, or what does doing that make me, make mean about me now versus when I did it when I didn't have any money, right? It wasn't a problem doing it when I didn't have any money. So
Yeah.
So I think anybody who's thinking they're better than that, or that it's something that they don't need to do, needs to look at that. And when you get it into that, then it's like the context of me having to look at that is something born out of what do I got to do today?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What do I have to do today to put calls on the sales guy's calendar? Right? What do I have to do to like yesterday? I was DMing people myself off my post. I DM'd like 30 people, then started doing roundtable calls, and then the VA picked it up off the back of that. And I got a spreadsheet of people that I need to circle back that didn't respond to her. So I'm going to DM.
See that?
I don't feel like doing that shit, but like, does it work? Yeah. And when it works and you see the results come in, it gives you that new sense of responsibility and that empowerment of like, okay, I can jump, let's get back into the trenches.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically what I heard is keep it simple and take action. Basically is what it comes down to.
Yeah. What did one of my coaches used to say? Complexity, non-confront. It's one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah.
The more you're avoiding confronting something, the more complex you make the problem out to be.
Yeah. So true. So true. I'm sure a lot of people could relate to that watching this.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is that's coming up for people. That's what the other part of it is, having accountability, which is why another thing that I just added into my training is another couple calls a week to make sure that everybody's consistently taking action, because it's like all kinds of stuff will come up for people. And then it's so true that like the more that you hold out on it, the worse it just gets up in your mind and just, it's insane. So yeah, there's some good insight there. Okay, cool. I think that's kind of wraps it up for the interview.
Awesome.
Appreciate you hopping on here, man.
Yeah. And anybody who listens to this should definitely take you up on that script offer and drop a Giphy below.
Yeah, do a little GIF. Well, I got the link there, or you could drop a GIF. I'll shoot you over the link. Either way. But okay, cool.
All right.
All right, man. Later.
Peace.